How's it going, Guardian? Shifty here, and in today's video I've got for you another Legend Lost Sector guide. In this one I'm going to be covering K1 crew quarters on the moon. Now the moon lost sectors are not necessarily ideal, but they seem to pop up pretty frequently in the seasonal lost sector rotation. That's why I think they're still worth doing guides on. Alright, so in K1 crew quarters we're going to have barrier and overload champions, there's going to be arc burn, and there's also going to be solar shields. Since this lost sector is longer than most, I'm just going to show you one full run on a warlock. However, I'm going to try to make the run as general as possible so you can follow along on any class. Alright, let's move on to my loadout here. So I am running an arc subclass. On my warlock I'm going to be using storm trance. If you're on a titan you could use pretty much whatever super you wanted to, and on a hunter you could also use whatever super you wanted to. You could go with arc strider or you could go with a new super. In my run, I will be using the pulse grenade. For my warlock aspects, I have electrostatic mind and lightning surge. These don't really matter too much. As long as you have some aspects that you enjoy using on your arc subclass, it shouldn't matter too much whether you're on a warlock, titan, or hunter. Then for my fragments, I do recommend a couple of these, but not all of them are necessary. So Spark of Recharge isn't necessary. Spark of Ions isn't necessary either, but this one is pretty useful with those ionic traces. Spark of Shock is one that I do recommend, so your arc grenade jolts targets. Then I do have Spark of Magnitude also. This makes it so my pulse grenade will last longer. As for my weapons, I decided to go with something different in my kinetic slot. I oftentimes use Arbalest as just kind of an all-around great weapon, but this time I wanted to kind of showcase Wish Ender, which is also an excellent anti-barrier weapon now. Since the buff, this is a great alternative to Arbalest. Then in my energy slot, I do have the Solar Bow, Stride, and Whistle. This is going to be for overload champions, but also to break the solar shields. And in my heavy slot, I am running Storm Chaser from the Duality Dungeon. This is going to benefit from Arc Burn. However, if you do not have this one, you could use the new seasonal Arc Linear Fusion Rifle as well. Outside of that, you could choose any Linear Fusion Rifle here. They just won't be quite as effective, especially if they don't do arc damage. As for my exotic armor, I do happen to have Fallen Sunstar on, but there isn't any particular exotic that you need to run on any of the classes here. For my armor mods, I'll just quickly show you each piece of armor, and if you need to see anything in more detail, just pause the video. I do want to point out that I do have surge detonators and bad amplitude here on my class item. These come from the seasonal artifact. Neither of these mods is necessary for this run. They're just helpful to have if you do have them. Alright, and that is it for my loadout. Now let's get into the full run with live commentary. You should be able to follow along regardless of your class. Alright, to start things off, I am going to toss a grenade down low to get some jolting action going on. You can use Wish Ender to one-shot a lot of these enemies. That's actually a great reason why I chose this weapon. And there we have our overload captain. Let's get that stunned real quick. I'm going to swap to my linear fusion, and I'll take that out fairly quickly. We'll one-shot those shanks with my solar bow, and now we can move on to the next area. Let's take out these exploder shanks. And I'm going to be ready for some of these enemies that spawn. Unfortunately, I only got one of them. I can toss a grenade over on those enemies over there. You can see a champion has appeared. I'm going to be waiting for this barrier champion that should be coming around the corner any second now. Should come back down. I scared it off. So I got 2 Wish Ender shots on it, then 1 more to pop the shield. Take out those invisible marauders. You can see a few more coming. I'm just basically using my bow to take enemies out at a distance. And there's going to be some sniping vandals you're going to see off to the right and to the left. I took out the one on the right. Let's take out a few of those dregs. Should just have a few more enemies down here. Might have an invisible marauder. Nope. And off to the left, we're going to, of course, have this vandal. I hear an exploder. Let's take care of that. A few more exploders coming down this way. And you can see there is an overload champion up here. I'm going to kind of scoot off to the left here. Stun that overload, and then we'll go ahead and linear fusion rifle it. If you only have a single shot linear fusion rifle, be careful, of course. You might have to swap back to your bow to prevent healing. And we'll take out those sniper shanks up top. You can see this bow doesn't one-shot these enemies, and Wish Ender does. Alright, we can make our way up here. We're going to find a few shanks over this ledge. Let's take those out. There is an unshielded sniper shank up top. I'm going to go ahead and take that out as well. I'm going to push forward just a little bit behind cover here. Let's get this barrier champion to shield. Let's pop it with one Wish Ender shot and take it out with the linear fusion rifle. Finish off that shank. And that vandal. You can see there's several enemies over there. Let's toss a pulse grenade again. Unfortunately, I didn't get any enemies in it. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to back down here, use my linear fusion rifle. Eventually, we're going to get a barrier champion to spawn out of that doorway. I was ready for it. And I was able to take it out. I'm going to toss a grenade on that orange bar. It was just enough to take it out. I'm going to grab the nightmare orb since I took it out. And I'm going to go ahead and pop my super. If you're on a Titan, you can use Striker Titan, or you could use Thunder Crash here. And Hunters, I recommend you use that new super. Although Arc Strider would do just fine here as well. And I almost died there. I ran out of my super. Started getting pelted by the boss. Alright, well, we'll go ahead and grab the chest now that we have the cash code. And there we have it. That was a platinum completion of the K1 Crew Quarters Legend Lost sector during Season of Plunder. Of course, the only difference you should encounter in your run if you're on a Titan or a Hunter is using your super at the end there. But other than that, the run should be fairly similar. And in this particular run, I wanted to demonstrate how useful Wish Ender can be now. After the buff it received, it's actually a really great weapon. Anyway, I just want to thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.